Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Studs and Scrubs podcast. Nick and I are just laughing, talking some hockey about some goalies getting lit up and getting pulled. So,
Yeah.
laughing as we come on. Nick, how you doing?
Talking some scrubs. I'm doing good, Stu. Yeah. I'm doing good. Christmas spirit still, just for everyone out there,
I love it.
I'm digging your Home Alone shirt.
I have joined your Christmas spirit today. It's funny because I threw this one on because we were going to go out today. It's the Saturday after Thanksgiving right now where we're recording. And so we don't really do like the Black Friday shopping. I don't think it's nearly as popular as it used to be anyways, just because...
I don't think so. So many people buy stuff online and
But of course it is still crowded because like I was talking to Leah about it today. I was like, there's lots of people who that's their thing, right? Yeah. We all do Thanksgiving dinner and then we go out with all the cousins or friends or whoever like every year. So it's like always crowded, even if it's not like it was in 2002 where people are...
no one's camping out for anything. I don't know what, like, it used to be you knew what the hottest toy was, and maybe that's just because when you're a kid, you're kind of keeping track of it a little bit. But I mean, even like my kids, and I mean, they're not really into, some of that stuff, I guess, but it's like, I feel out of touch. Like, I don't know what what the hot
I don't know what the hot thing is, but I started laughing because do you remember that movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger is trying to find
Jingle All the Way, Turbo Man? Yeah.
And it's like a red robot or something. Yeah, but it was like, I feel like that was probably 80s and 90s a little bit more, where it was like, this is the toy. The new Barbie or the new Nintendo even. Like, there was something that was like it.
You got the magazine, you went through it, you circled and dog-eared
your pages. You wanted.
Yeah.
But even all the way until I feel like I was in college and worked at a Walmart where they had Black Friday way more organized, so people weren't like at the door at midnight knocking everyone over. Yeah. So since the stores were 24/7, they started to do the thing where it was wrapped up in black saran wrap. That was the Black Friday stuff. And if you ripped in there and got it out, there was one, police in the building. If you went, if you got too crazy, if you guys start fighting. And then two was, if you take this to the register, it will not scan until 12:01. So you rip it out of there and fight all you want.
Okay.
You have to steal it, because if you go try to buy this, it will not scan. And so when I used to work Black Friday, I was always happy because they would have me help with setup. So you're there on Thanksgiving Day, which some people don't like. And I only did it a couple of years when I like moved away and was, young in the dorm rooms or whatever, my first apartment. So it was like, okay, you're going to work at like 6 p.m. on Thursday, and then you're off at like 1 in the morning or something. It's like when it starts to get crazy, you're like, bye. Have fun being a cashier. Because even if it wasn't super crazy like back in the old days where people are tenting out and knocking everything over, it was like still, you're going to stand in one spot as a cashier for 9 hours and not move. So anyways, all that to say is that the hot ticket item was, I think, the PlayStation 3 and the Wii and the Xbox 360. And they were pretty crazy because especially I feel like the Wii was really hard to find. Yeah. So people were like, I knew somebody who worked there. They were coordinating with friends where he like took Black Friday off. I don't know how he got it off. And they had saved up their money to buy like 10 of them. Because they bought them for like $300.
And then you could probably sell them for double that.
Oh, yeah, they were selling them for like $900, $1,000 each.
Yeah.
On eBay. And so people really hate those type of people that do that. But like, they were not as crazy though. Like, they were hard to get, but it wasn't a Stampede circus. You had a special line that you got in, and then you get a ticket that was like a Subway sandwich type thing, a deli sandwich in New York. It was like, I'm number 83. Yeah. Now I'm going to go keep shopping. So anyways, didn't mean to talk about Black Friday, but that's when we're recording. Nick and I have gone Christmas with it, and the only reason I decided to get on board and do this for the pod because I realized I wanted to get in the Christmas spirit. But if we do every week a podcast where I'm wearing something Christmas themed, I was like, when I did Halloween, I was like, I should have just done Halloween only, not the whole month of October, because I realized I got 3 or 4 good Halloween shirts that are all Home Alone, and all of my Halloween ones were The Simpsons. So now I'm like, I don't have a variety of Christmas. I'm just gonna wear Home Alone for a month.
I thought you had a Stranger Things.
I do actually. That's a lie. I have a Stranger. I meant T-shirts. Maybe I guess I was thinking.
Okay.
I have a Stranger Things sweatshirt that does the alphabet thing.
Yeah.
From season 1.
Uh-huh.
Which is still my favorite. No spoilers for anyone out there, but season 1's my favorite. But the scene
I'll agree with
when
that.
the letters light up.
Oh, yep.
3 letters light up. That is my favorite scene in the show so far, I think.
Yeah.
I remember getting chills down my spine when they started spelling it. I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, well, good stuff. I didn't go out on Black Friday. We do a lot of shopping online. It's just easier. It's so convenient. But I'm not gonna lie. A part of me does kind of miss if I don't have to get something. Um, I mean, I don't know. I can see it both ways. If I don't have to get something, why go out? But at the same time, I don't. I kind of like going out because it does kind of signify like, all right, here's the Christmas season. It's here. And so if I'm not competing and trying to find that hot item, there's no pressure. Yeah, whatever. I'm just watching everybody else fight over something.
People watching.
Yeah.
I got a coffee. I got my Christmas on.
Right.
I'm kind of making fun of everyone. Like we're just having fun.
Right.
The traffic I could do without, but the walking
traffic's
traffic
the worst part. Yeah. And I too had to work a couple of Black Fridays in retail. I worked at Old Navy.
Oh, I forgot you were
at the mall. So I actually went in. I was like the second shift, so I'm in there at 1. I'm working till close at the mall, and then a couple hours afterwards trying to put the store back together. But honestly, I mean, once I got in there, like you said, the traffic was a nightmare. But like working it, and dude, it was so busy. Like it just flew by. Like
true.
I liked it. So it felt like we were all in it together, all the employees. It's like, all right, buckle down. We can do it,
We can survive. And if you're at 1 p.m. on Friday, the psycho people are kind of gone.
They're gone.
Right?
Yeah. But it's still, you're catching a lot of that traffic. I'm parking far away and, walking in and but yeah, it was almost like it's almost like there's 2 waves. You got the morning psychos that are there when it first opens, and then their first 3-4 hours might be kind of crazy, and then it kind of dies off a little bit at lunch, but then it kind of picks back up. People go back out, once they know that all the psychos are gone.
Yes.
No offense, psychos.
No offense. If that's your thing, have fun. But you're still psycho.
But you know what I mean? Then there's like the second group that goes out and just kind of
like
picks over whatever's left. Yeah. They want some of the deals, but they don't need the hot items and the
right. Or they're a little bit hungover maybe from football and turkey.
True. Yeah. But I like it growing up, especially with my mom's side of the family. You'd have Thanksgiving at grandma's house. You'd go there, and then it's a big enough family, right? That this aunt, she's looking at the Sears catalog. All right, I'm going to Sears. If anybody, she's making her list. If anybody needs anything from here, let me know.
Oh, right.
Someone else is going to Walmart. Someone else is going to Dick's Sporting Goods. Someone else, and you're just making lists for, hey, get me this from over here. Get me that from here.
It's a smart way to do it.
And
like
then
we'll settle up later. I'm doing the disc.
Exactly. Divide and conquer. And then, we're out there. We're the psychos at like 5, you're getting there 4 or 5 in the morning. But then, 8:30, 9 o'clock, hey, we're done. Let's meet up at IHOP or somewhere. And then you're just for breakfast. And, so I do kind of miss that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good time of year. A great time of year. Best time of year. The most wonderful time of the year.
The most wonderful. I'll start everyone with me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we've been decorating. We haven't gone out, done anything like that. Just stayed home, decorated inside. I put up some lights outside today. It actually snowed here in Illinois today. A little bit of a dusting. My hands were freezing. It was probably only a high of like maybe 22, 25 degrees today.
High was 20. Ooh.
Yeah, it was pretty chilly today. Pretty chilly. I was fine, but my fingers, that was the problem, my fingers. But
Need the gloves.
I did have some gloves. So part of me was like, man, I wish it wasn't so cold so I could put these decorations up. But then the other part's like, dude, this is awesome. I'm putting up my Christmas lights and it's snowing.
Right, true. It's
dusting. I mean, it wasn't bad enough that I needed to stop. It was just a little dusting. So it was
Now,
nice.
I got to call a little scrub on you on that one a little bit, because you're telling me your fingers were cold because you were outside putting up your lights without gloves on when it was 20?
So there were certain times that I did have to take my gloves off to like.
You had to keep.
Yeah. But for the most part, I was trying to keep my gloves on. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to say that's a little bit on you, because you know how this is a debate we could ask the listeners if we ever.
Let's do it.
We'll do our Twitter poll.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? If you're from the Midwest, there's kind of a strange subculture inside the Midwest that, like, if you're from Missouri, you're kind of from the South. You're not really like the Midwest, even though you are. And it kind of is like, how far over does it go? Is Ohio the Midwest, or is Ohio the East? And once you're getting into, okay, to me, the Kentucky is like, you're in the South.
That's the South. I don't.
It's a cultural kind of thing. It's like you're no longer, and then it's like, yeah, but Kentucky's further north than like Tennessee, and it's like it's all the South. And so my family's all from the northern Midwest, right? So mom's side of the family's from Iowa, dad's side of the family's from Michigan, but my dad's generation is from Michigan. Grandpa's from Kentucky. And so I always grew up Michigan, Red Wings, but we're all Michigan, everything. Go Blue, everything's Michigan. Mom's from Iowa. They met at school at Iowa State. Like, they lived in Minnesota. I was born in Minnesota. Like, we're all from the northern Midwest. So my dad really is kind of like, we're northerners. I don't mind the cold, right? Yeah. Then, my mom, she's like, a bunch of hillbillies down here in the South. And so Illinois is a little weird because it's so long, right? Mm-hmm. All this ranting to say, like, if you're from Chicago or you're from Rockford, like, I would think you're from the north. But if you're from St. Louis, I'm like, you are from the South, bro. And it's more of a cultural thing than a latitude thing.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, and the reason I brought it up, is I was like, wait, Nick, were you not wearing gloves outside? There's this weird thing that happens in Springfield, Illinois. And I know it happens all over the country. But when it starts getting colder and it's 60 or it's 50, people got cowboy boots on, and they put on their flannels, and they play country music, and they go to a bonfire. And then when it's 15, they go shorts, hoodie. It's not even cold, bro.
Yeah.
And I go, it is cold. You will die if your car goes in the ditch.
Yeah.
And part of me goes, I don't want you to die, but I kind of want your car to break down. Because I've been on the side of the road when it's negative 20 before, and it's cold real quick.
Yeah.
So when you're walking around in shorts and a hoodie going like, it's not cold, my mom always used to say, that's a Southern thing. When you're in Minnesota and you're in Canada, people don't walk around with shorts when it's 20 going, that's not cold. They probably don't think it's very cold when it's 20 because it gets so cold.
Right.
But they dress in layers, right? You put on your long sleeves, you put on your lightweight jacket, you put on your mittens, and it's like, yeah, it's 20. It's not that cold. I'm from, Calgary. It gets really cold. But you don't do this southern, like, flip-flops and shorts, like, I'm not cold, bro. Don't worry about it. And so I just had a flashback where I was like, whoa, listener poll. Is Illinois, the bottom part, the South, or is it still the North?
All of Illinois is the North.
All of Illinois is North.
That's my take.
Now, here's a curveball. Is that your take because they fought for the North? Because I know you like history. And Lincoln's from here.
I mean,
because part of me also thinks that I don't know if Illinois would have been in the Union 100%.
Well, yeah.
But because Lincoln,
and I guess
president,
Lincoln did have a lot to do with that. But I guess I just think of the South as like Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana,
right.
like accent, Southern accent.
Yeah, and there is some cultural. It's interesting because if you ever really want to dig into it for fun, you just hop on the Google machine. But in geography, the human geography aspect comes into play, which of course is my favorite thing to talk about. For our listeners, I won't get too far into it, but human geography takes a lot of that into account. How do you pronounce words? How do you say things? Yeah. Colloquialisms, maybe religion, maybe social economic standings, maybe racial diversity, all these type of things on a big scale for a whole country or continent, and all the way down to a tiny scale inside your little town can be broken up. And it's like the cultural geography of that area is called interior South. And that's what you're saying. That's Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, the southern part of Missouri, the southern part of Illinois, and that's called interior South, where I think the real South is the dirty South, they call it. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, like Georgia, the South, right? And so, anyways, it's just fun to think of it because I remember taking a class at Arizona State that called the Boot Hill of Missouri the South, and I was like, and it went right up to like St. Louis, and I was like, oh, told you so, that's the South. But anyway, just different cultures, or like, chicken and waffle type diner, right? If you go to a diner in Madison, Wisconsin, that's not the menu.
Yeah. Where's the line? Well, this doesn't even work anymore, but there used to be a line as to where you could get sweet tea from McDonald's. You went so far north, they didn't have sweet tea.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And so, I mean, I can get sweet tea here in Illinois, and where I'm at in Illinois. So,
because you're in the South,
still the South. And I don't know if that exists anymore, but I feel like when I was in college and stuff, and I would go home with friends, different places in the north and stuff, and it would be like, you'd go through McDonald's and ask for a sweet tea, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have sweet tea." You don't have sweet tea? Like, what is wrong with you? But I went to college in West Virginia.
You're from the South.
So West Virginia, they like to say they're the South. Well, you can get under their skin real quick and say, well, you're West Virginia because you used to be Virginia. The Civil War happened. Then you went north. So
you're not the South.
Right.
See, now I actually kind of forgot that. So West Virginia fought for Union, and Virginia was the South.
I don't know all the details, but I mean, Virginia used to
Richmond, Virginia, the
West Virginia. Yes.
Confederate? Yeah.
Yes. But then West Virginia became another, state. Same with what you were saying earlier about Missouri. Yes, I think they technically were the South. I'm originally from Maryland. We were a border state, so there's people fought both sides.
Yeah, which is, I feel like Missouri and Indiana both were volunteers, maybe. I don't know if they were officially as a whole state one, or if it was like people volunteered to fight for the Union?
I don't know.
I feel like Indiana was the North, though.
Yeah, I think Indiana was the North. Ohio was the North. So like that whole line.
Blue Jackets. We're back into hockey.
Right. Yeah.
Here's what it was when I was growing up. This is probably a little ridiculous, but I think it was kind of my dad's opinion, was Interstate 80 is the line, which is pretty far north. You got your belt pulled up pretty high.
So he thinks everything below that is the South?
Everything below 80 is the South. Oh.
But see, I think where I'm from...
You're from Chicago. You think Illinois stops at Interstate 80.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
That everyone in Chicago thinks that that's the whole state. Everything under that doesn't count.
And so I wonder if, because of where I'm from, in Maryland, having more like Civil War history.
Yeah, the East kind of slides down, right? The East kind of is like, you know what I mean? Like the South is the Carolinas.
Yes. But we think, I mean, how I grew up was the South are the states that fought for the South.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. I mean, that's where I guess,
in my mind, that's how it's divvied up.
And I think it's probably the caveat I guess I tried to start with was because I was born and raised in the Midwest, there's an internal Midwest battle.
Yeah.
Of like people from Wisconsin don't like people from Illinois generally.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a generalization, but it's like the small towns in Wisconsin. You come from Chicago and you just are here to camp. And, in the 80s, right? Oh, I'm up here real quick. I'm driving my fancy car. I'm dropping my cigarette butts in the woods. Yeah. And people in Wisconsin are like, go back to Illinois. More of a big city, small town thing.
Right.
But they're, and going to school in Iowa, people used to say, how do you increase the IQ of Iowa and Missouri with only doing one thing?
I don't know.
You cut off the bottom third of Iowa and make it Missouri. That'll increase Iowa's IQ and still increase Missouri's IQ.
Oh, man.
But anyways, we're way off topic now.
All right. Yeah, well.
We can get into the hockey talk.
Black Friday to geography to,
This is what I always do is figure out a way to talk about geography. We didn't have too much hockey talk this week because of the holidays and because we're so busy decorating. So I thought, okay, perfect, short episode. Well, we're 20 minutes in. I haven't talked about hockey, so.
Did I say on here on the podcast the two NHL teams that got their names kind of inspired from the Civil War?
I cannot remember if it was on the podcast, but I do know the answer.
Okay, hit me.
Columbus Blue Jackets.
That's one.
We just talked about them, so, right? Blue Jackets, they fought for the Union. That one's obvious, even if you forget it. Yeah. That's the obvious one. The not obvious one is kind of dark, to be honest.
A little bit.
It's a little strange. The Calgary Flames.
Yes.
Used to be the Atlanta Flames.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would name yourselves after a horrible...
I'm not sure why
either. It was like a violent, terrible act of war.
Yeah.
That happened to you. Like, it's a little weird. Right? I mean, I don't know my history that well, but didn't General Sherman burn Atlanta to the ground?
Yeah. So there you have it, the Atlanta Flames.
You get a team and you're like, remember 100 years ago?
Yeah.
200 years ago? Let's name our team after that.
So, but that one's a little tricky because, Atlanta Flames, then they relocate Calgary Flames. So, but
I should have pretended I didn't know and let you tell it. It would have gone over better.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Yep.
When I learned that, I was like, because I kind of knew they were called the Atlanta Flames, right? But it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Although the soccer team, Chicago Fire, is that because of the Great Chicago Fire?
Oh, I don't know.
Because that wasn't really a super happy story either.
Yeah. Why?
What's the story from that that's not true? I mean, I know you're not from here, but you've lived here a long time.
Right. It was
here.
Someone's.
Mrs. Blah blah blah's cow knocked over a lantern.
Right. In the
My
barn
whole life.
started the
and then
fire.
people are like, that is like not only
yeah.
not true, but like, I guess they don't know that it's not true. There's like no evidence to back it up at all.
Yeah.
And so I think they don't know how it started, but it's like, we're almost positive that's not how it started because it was in the city. Who's got cows in the city?
Yeah.
And it's like, fair enough.
Yeah. It sounded like a good story, so they just go with it. And it catches on, and that's what people tell each other. And just,
somebody didn't like that poor lady.
That's right, yeah.
Or somebody somewhere knew how it started, and they were like, I think it was a cow. I mean,
right. Whoever really started it came up with that other story.
Right. That way it's like, and it's not really her fault, she's on the farm. Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah. Is, cows are going to be cows. Don't look at my arson kit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hockey check-in, great time of year because of the holidays, because of Christmas, but it's also a great time of year because we are officially past the quarter mark. So I had to break out my calculator because I'm stupid. 20 and a half games is 1/4 of 82. So sometime during this week, every team passed the 21 game mark.
Ooh, okay.
Most people are well past it, but there's a couple teams that only are at 22, like today, I think. Friday night, Saturday night. When are we recording? Saturday night, the 30th. So Saturday it's like night, every single team in the league is now past the quarter mark. Okay. So we're not going to do a big deep dive, mostly because Nick and I don't remember 100% what we said, but I wanted to do it mostly to introduce the segment that has been an idea we've both had for a long time. The segment called Milk or Wine. And it's just, here's your prediction, right? And you say, I will make fun of myself first. Bold prediction. Tyler Bertuzzi is going to start line one, power play line one, with Connor Bedard and Tano Teravainen. And he is not only going to be a career high, 65 points, but he's going to get 90 points. Okay, did that age like fine wine? Or did that age like milk in the sun? That one aged like milk.
Milk in the sun, buddy.
So even if he turns it around and has a good year, I think he'll miss 90 points by 50 points.
Very well could. Yeah, he's not been doing the greatest so far, Stu.
No, and I don't even have his points pulled up in front of me, but I think he scored goal number 5 this week, and probably has well under 20 points. I'm guessing closer to 10. I could pull him up, but there's no point. He's not getting 90. He's not doing well at all. And a little bit, I did have a caveat that I assumed Connor Bedard was no sophomore slump. Crosby got 120 points his sophomore year. I said, I don't know if Bedard will do that, but he's going to get 40 goals. He might get 50 goals. Sophomore slump.
Yeah, he's only got, I think he's still in single digits. I
had 2 milks, aged like milks.
Yeah.
Because the caveat was if Bertuzzi's going to get that many points, it's because Bedard's going to be unstoppable. Even if the Blackhawks are bad, he's still going to score 45 goals.
Yeah.
So that's a double milk for Stu. That's a double milk.
Man, that's rough. That is rough. I don't remember. I got a couple of notebooks around here, and I don't know where any of my bold predictions are. But
the picture behind you, you have a fine wine one. If you want to.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So, I did think Ovechkin was going to have a good year, and I
I
figured
have
that
the
he
gift.
was. Now, I will say that I did not have the Caps being as good as what they are right now.
Yep.
So that one little off, but yeah, Ovechkin. I said April 4th, 2025. I think Stu wrote
Yeah,
that down.
I did. I got it right here. April 4th, 2025 in highlighter. So whenever I switch to this notepad, I don't have our other predictions from the other
Okay.
divisions. So,
So yes, that is when I predicted Ovechkin would break Wayne Gretzky's record. He's hurt right now. He's out. He's probably going to come back maybe around Christmas. I'm not sure exactly
yeah.
when that 4 to 6 week mark is. So far,
Yeah, somewhere
I haven't heard that he's had any setbacks or that he's doing better. I'm not sure of his status yet.
nothing
Um,
I've got.
but if he comes back, now I am a little uh, and not a little worried, but I do think that he's going to hit a cold streak when he gets closer for whatever reason. Just he's going to put the pressure on himself, or teams are going to put the pressure, and we don't want to be the team that Ovi scores his, breaks Wayne Gretzky's record against, and that kind of thing.
Goalies
The
locked in.
the Caps are probably gonna, when Ovi gets within 10, they're gonna be feeding him the puck every time. It's like, who wants to shoot when I could pass to Ovi and he could get. So I do think that there's going to be a little bit of that, but mostly probably just pressure that he's putting on himself.
You know, easier to defend too, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you and I both thought the team would be, they're killing it.
yeah.
So he's not the
And
only one scoring. The team was
they
so
just
good.
beat New Jersey today, actually, I believe.
Yeah, in a barn burner because the Wings lost in a barn burner.
Yeah,
Which I mean, I got no problem if they lose to the Devils. They're doing great, but Wings were winning 2-1.
yeah,
I don't know. Devils. I mean, they look like NFL scores. They're like 6-5, 7-6.
yeah. It is kind of crazy. Um, so hopefully
But
Ovechkin comes
he's
back
always
and just picks up right where he left off. He's been killing it. And I think he's for sure less than 30 goals away from Gretzky. I think he's about 26 to 28. So if he
yeah. It
comes
sounds.
back, let's just say he comes back in January. Actually, when is the Four Nations Cup?
It's the All Star break,
Okay, so
which is
probably February
second week
sometime,
of January, right?
or maybe
Oh,
end of January,
let's look it up.
beginning of
Four Nations.
February.
Four Nations face off date. Oh, you're right. February 12th to
Okay,
February 20th.
okay. So that might skew it a little bit, but let's just say he comes back um, in January. If he can get 10 goals in January, I mean this is the pace he was on before he got hurt, right? 10
Yep.
goals
Yep.
roughly in October, 10 in
Mm-hmm.
November. I mean got hurt a little bit ago, but if he can get 10 goals in January, 10 goals in February, 10 goals in March, I mean there's another 30. He's past Gretzky's record. So I
Right.
still like it. I'll still stick with it, but yeah, he doesn't have the buffer that he would have before this injury, with an extra, say, month of just kind of built-in cold streak and that kind of stuff for him. So we'll see. As of right now, it's trending in the right direction. I like it, but it could also end up like milk in the sun. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right. And he
Because he
had
can be
50,
streaky. He can be
he
streaky.
can, he can be. And this year he was not very streaky. He was pretty much a goal a game. He had the one hat trick, a couple 2-point goals, but there
Yeah,
wasn't very many games with no goals.
yeah,
He was almost he had 15 goals in 18 games, which I
yeah,
think is pace for 65.
yeah,
So you miss a month. If he comes back and he's got a cold streak and he returns to the form he was at, then he's probably going to have a 40 goal season. And that would be the record, I think, if he gets
yeah,
40. No, he had to get 42 when it started. But
yeah.
so your prediction of April 5th is like the last week of the season, right? Almost?
Yes, yes.
Oh, no. Yeah, almost. So
Right.
his injury, in a weird way, I don't think anyone, because the whole debate, right, was 1, is he going to break it? 2, will it be this year? Almost everyone said he's going to do it. It won't be till next year.
Right.
So you come out with your bold prediction saying not only is he doing it this year, but he's going to do it by this date.
Yeah.
And that was really bold until about November 5th when everyone was like, he could break this record by New Year's.
Yeah.
Right? So then all of a sudden it was like, okay, take him out for a month or 6 weeks. Then you got the Four Nations break. Maybe he has a week or two where he's kind of streaky or just kind of getting back into his rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well now Nick's looking like Nick Stradamus over here. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because if it actually happens on that exact date, that will be really super crazy. I want it documented in like 12 episodes, not just the one where we got to go find it. It's like, no, we got to do it. Let's move to another one real quick that I think was not only us, but it was pretty much everybody. We both said the Predators were going to kill it this year. And even during the slow start, I said, yeah, who cares? They just got to get used to playing together.
Yeah.
Well, we're fourth the way through the year and they're garbage. Let's just be frank about it. They're terrible.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at the standings today, and there's quite a few of them that are a little surprising. Like, you look at teams like the Sharks, the Ducks, and the Blackhawks near the bottom. No one's really very surprised. All of them, I think, there was some positivity, including Montreal. They got good young talent. They're going to be better than you think. Just wait, hold on. They're not going to be that bad. But then you go and look at all the teams and rank them. They're still at the bottom. So no one's surprised there. But there are some kind of surprising teams. Okay, like Canadians at the bottom, Jackets at the bottom. That's going to happen. But the Penguins being this bad, I don't think most people saw. The Islanders falling off a cliff and the Predators. And really, probably throw the Kraken in there a little bit. I didn't see those 3 teams being that bad.
Yeah. It is pretty surprising because some of those teams, are young still, the Sharks, the Ducks, Blackhawks, so we expected them to maybe take a few strides forward, but they weren't really going to be a threat.
Right.
The Predators, I thought, had the talent to win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Could they still get hot and maybe make a run? Maybe, but I don't see it anymore.
I might have even bet them because it was like $10 won you like hundreds of dollars.
When Stamkos signed with the Predators, I put money on them to win the cup.
Right? Like, might as well. Now I'm looking at it going, should have got that sweet tea. Right. Should have got that.
Yeah. I know that I also picked the Wings to make a move forward. They haven't been playing great. That one's not looking too well for me. Because essentially they were a playoff team last year.
Right. I mean, they literally tied, and the tiebreaker is stupid.
Yeah.
The team that had the most wins didn't go. Now you're looking at it going, I guess they're not a playoff team, but you had a prediction that actually has aged in the middle. I don't know what that's called. Milk wine. Milk wine sounds worse than milk.
I don't know.
But the Bruins took a big step back, and you called that. Because I'm looking at it right now, they're 11-11-3. Red Wings are 10-11-2.
Okay.
So the Bruins, the Sabres, the Red Wings, the Senators all equally suck together. So even though the Wings are not playing,
got a little clump there together.
And we talked about this a long time ago. It was like everyone in the Atlantic was 5-5. Okay, then they were 7-7. Then now we're all 11-11 almost. And it's like the Red Wings have 2 games in hand. If they win the next 2 games, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, they wouldn't be really because the Lightning are doing really well and they got games in hand as well. But,
right. They could be. Yeah.
It's amazing how
tight it is. Yeah.
Because a fourth the way through the season, if you would have said that the Red Wings are under 500 a fourth of the way in, I'd say the Atlantic's too tight, they're out. But now it's like it's so tight in a crapshoot that it's kind of helping the Wings, because the real problem for the Wings making the playoffs is the Capitals. Right, because it's like everyone knew that they're not going to be better than Panthers. They're not going to be better than the Leafs. They're not going to be better than the Lightning. They're not going to be better than the Hurricanes or the Rangers. Most people said the Devils. Not everyone, but no, that was it. Okay, the 6 are in. Now who's left? Bruins and Red Wings.
Yeah.
Or Senators, or
Penguins. I might have put the Penguins up there.
You might have, which was definitely milk take, because they are in their 40s and they are terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Capitals are in first place in the East.
Did not see that.
I didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming. Let me pivot.
They've still been doing pretty good without Ovechkin.
Yeah, they are actually in a 4-game win streak, and I feel like they lost the first game when he got hurt.
Yeah. So
there only been 5 since
that's
he got
a good
hurt.
sign. I would say that's a good sign for them.
You know what? That is a good sign, because as much as I hate to say it, sometimes it's weird, right? Like when you talk fantasy and you got your best people. This week I'm losing kind of a lot. I had Draisaitl and Bouchard and a couple good people get negative points, and it's like, okay, well, you're done. You're going to lose. Almost. Yeah. Like your top guys don't score. But once in a while in fantasy and in real life, if you can win and your top people aren't doing it, then it's that's sometimes a big red flag. To me, that sucks when it's playoffs. Hashtag Leafs. If the Leafs go in and they get no production from their top lines in round 1, they're probably going to lose again. But when you're in the regular season and it's like, hey, we're in third and the top guys aren't the ones scoring, that's almost a good thing, because they will, depending on who it is, right? Sometimes they're just too good. You look at the Oilers struggled, and it was like Hyman's not scoring, Draisaitl's not scoring, McDavid's not scoring, and you're like, okay, well, we don't really have that much to worry about because McDavid is going to score, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes you see that as kind of a weird, not a positive thing, but, it's like I don't have to stress if that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll see, like the Leafs this year maybe are different. They say that every year, but Matthews has been out a lot and they are absolutely killing it. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe.
Right. If I think Matthews came back today.
Maybe.
But you get some of those superstars that are going to miss a couple weeks, and then like Ovechkin, he's going to be out for a month. When you get him back, I mean, what a boost! If you can be winning without him, and then all of a sudden you get one of the greatest goal scorers of all time back. I mean, that's like a huge trade at the deadline. You're bringing in someone, but you're not losing anybody.
You're not. Yep.
You're just bringing in a great player.
Especially, I feel like in the Capitals, like I don't know if it's true, but it seems like it's a focal point a lot that the team gets along really well. They're all just like friends.
Yeah.
And you've seen all the weird stuff. TJ Oshie and Wilson always used to like beat each other up and they go all crazy in the tunnel to psych themselves up. Like it sounds like going way back for years, 10 years, they've just been like, we are all close. We're all really tight. And, when you're that close of a group and, okay, now this guy comes back, what if he takes my ice time or whatever? It's not going to be like that.
Right.
As much, because you're all in it together. And it's like you're saying, you just get a boost because it's like, not only is it Ovechkin, who's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but it's like, oh, good, this is my friend, my buddy, my guy I miss. Like, he's back in the locker room.
Yeah.
That camaraderie of like, no offense to whoever's
taking a spot, but
cut. But it's like, there's a bunch of guys kind of in the middle, like the Vrana types that we've talked about, that like the boost of Ovechkin is like, yeah, you might get a couple minutes less ice time, but you're not going to get sent to the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for 80% of the people, it's like such a huge lift that I don't know. I would say they're still not a Stanley Cup team, but they're in
so
first
either.
place. So anyone can win, right? I mean, the Blues, when the Blues won the Cup, every single game I said, yeah, well, it's close, but they can't beat the Bruins.
Yeah.
And then when it said Game 7, I said, it's already over. You can't win Game 7 against the Bruins. It's done. Every single game I was like, well, they're not going to win. Then they win. It's just like up and down the roster, they're better in every single category, and they lose. It doesn't matter, right? So, but to your point, Matthews did come back, and he got 2 assists, and they beat the Lightning 5-3. So he's out hurt. It's 3-3, right?
Yeah.
So that's to your point, when the big guns come back, it's like a boost. And I kind of had some other point with that, but I forgot what it was. To our predictions, the one I had that is looking decent still is not maybe not fine wine, but it aged like wine more than milk. Was that the Devils would not only rebound from last year, but that they would win the President's Trophy.
Okay.
So I'm going to call that a cheap wine at this point.
Box wine.
A box wine. It's they're way, way better than they were last year. I think most people knew that was kind of a weird fluke year. They were in first until today. The Capitals won today, right?
Yes.
So, anyways, they got 34 points. Capitals have 35. First in the East, I should say. But they have played a lot more games because they went to Europe. So they're in first, but they have played 3 more games than the Hurricanes, 3 more games than the Capitals. So the Capitals are ahead of them with 3 games in hand.
Gotcha.
So Devils winning the President's Trophy, yeah, maybe not, but a fourth of the way into the year, they're looking solid.
Yeah.
Which they cannot catch. Well, maybe they could, I guess, but the Jets have kind of cooled off finally. They've 5-5 in their last 10, but I mean, they were the story of the NHL for how long?
Yeah.
Quickly, though, who surprises me maybe even more, because I didn't see the Jets doing super well. I definitely didn't see them going 12-1 or whatever the heck they did.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But what I really didn't see is that even after all that hype, they're not even in first. They're tied for first.
Really?
For the Minnesota Wild.
Wow. Talk about an under-the-radar team.
Under the radar. And all year they've been there. They had the goalie goal, right? And it was like, man, they're kind of outperforming expectations. They've both played 24, so they're well past the quarter mark. And they're tied for first in the same division. To me, is crazy because I think we all said the Central was really hard, but I didn't really see the Blues have cooled off. I feel like they were outperforming. They got Jim Montgomery. Maybe it'll turn around.
Yeah.
But the Blues, Utah, Predators, and Blackhawks basically are all garbage. And at the Avalanche, right? I mean, they started as the worst team in the NHL almost.
Yeah, they were terrible there for a while.
It was, and they've rebounded. So it's like, okay, well, for a little while, 5 teams in the Central were hot garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so that I just wanted to mention that real quick because I don't have a ton to say about them because it caught me off guard. But the Wild are just killing it. I mean, they're just absolutely on fire.
Okay.
So that was one. I don't know if we had a different wine or milk on the topic other than I re-listened to one of our episodes and it wasn't a bold prediction, but we were talking about players that had a really good year last year and people are going to take them too high in the draft.
Yeah.
And they're going to take them as a number 1 or whatever. Take your pick.
Yeah.
And they're going to regret it. And we specifically called out Sam Reinhart.
And he heard it. And he was like, listening. You know what? Yeah. He's like, I'm going to prove those guys wrong. I'm a stud, not a scrub, is what he probably said.
I think he might have called him a scrub, meaning he's still a good player and he's going to get 30 goals.
Yes.
But he is never, ever going to get 57 again.
Yeah.
Well, he's on pace for
He'll get
65.
65, yeah.
So we'll see. He's got 18 goals already, 25 games into the year. And the Florida Panthers, who in the standings are doing fine, but I don't think they're really blowing anyone away. They just beat Carolina
Hurricanes,
6-3
yeah.
in Carolina and the 6-0 in Florida.
Yeah.
So they beat them 12-3 in 6 periods. And the Carolina Hurricanes are good.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out, because the Florida Panthers might kind of just be chilling for the regular season and just sort of going, yeah, okay, we'll see everybody in April. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Because they might just go win the cup again, which would be annoying. Because you know what? Their goaltending hasn't been very good. And that's what we're talking about. Sometimes your best people aren't good. I don't think that come round one you have to worry about Bobrovsky. So if you're sitting there and you're doing medium and you're second in the Atlantic and you're like, that's all right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play them.
Yeah.
Just saying that.
No, they're a solid team.
You know what? That one, we crapped the bet on a little bit. That aged like milk, but I don't know his numbers off the top of my head, but I bet you we said the same thing about Mr. Hyman. And has he turned it around yet? Because he was not having a good start.
Yeah, and he had 50 goals last year, didn't he?
Yeah, he
might even had over more. 50, yeah.
Yes, he, I don't have his last year stats, but he had a crap ton of goals last year. This year, 20 games played.
3 goals.
3 goals.
Wow. I didn't think it was that low, but that is.
Now, we are scrubs, right? We're not very good at hockey.
For sure.
Granted, these are the best goalies in the world. But if you went out there 2 to 3 times a game for 80 games, let's just do 20. They've only played 20. And you played between 1 and 2 minutes of power play with Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, whoever else.
Right. Take your pick.
He has 3 total goals and 1 power play goal.
Oh.
1. So now you're going back when everyone made fun of the Leafs and said, "Oh, you got rid of Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman's going to score 60 goals. He's the best front man, better than Pavelski, better than."
Yeah.
Well, now this year, I don't know. Maybe that was just a one-off year. And so then that one I'll say we aged like wine.
Okay. Yeah, that one probably wasn't too good.
Just because I don't think that either one of us said like, "Oh, Hyman's going to be terrible. He's only going to have 3 goals." But we said like, people are going to take him in round 1, thinking you got Matthews, McKinnon, and Hyman, and it's like no. He's going to drop.
Flash in the pan. Someone has one great season, and then they just a lot of times get overhyped. Now, sometimes can it be legit? Maybe, but he's been in the league for a while, so it's like, where has this been? You're not in the league for 3, 4, 5 years, and then all of a sudden you're a 50-goal scorer.
Right. So that's a good example, because this is his projection. Maybe not his whole career. I'll start with his first 20-goal season. So he's in the league for year number 4. He gets 21 goals. 21, 21, 15, 27, 36, 54. Now and the 1 year he got 15 was only in 43 games. So you go, okay, he got 30-ish, right?
Right.
So
yeah.
Over his career, 36 was a high, and then he jumped to 54. So it looked like maybe he got 27, 36, 54. This is it. He'll regress to 46.
Yeah.
I think he is probably a 30-goal scorer. He used to be a 20-goal scorer. Now he plays in Edmonton with these guys, and every year in Edmonton, he got 27, 36, 54. So I think by the end of his career, he's going to be in the 25 to 35 is more realistic, where the 54 is not going to be, I don't think, a place he comes back to. So I'll give that one to us, that's a little bit more like wine, where we just kind of said it's not going to be as good as last year. I don't remember what numbers we said. It wasn't really a bold prediction that we said don't pick him up, he's going to be a free agent. But it was like, if somebody takes him in round 2, let them have him.
Right. For sure.
Anyways, so there's that one. I don't think we had any bold predictions left that I remembered, at least. I'm sure we have a couple.
Yeah, I don't think I do.
Other than our standings, I'm not going to go through our whole standings, like, Calgary being at the bottom and they're doing good. We had a few of those. But there was no big predictions I can think of that we really nailed or crap the bed on, other than my Bertuzzi.
Not yet. We'll have to go back and I'm sure Eli will know some of the ones that we made. We'll have to go back, dig a little deeper, see where we're at with those. And then, maybe at the halfway mark of the season, kind of reevaluate, see where we're at.
That'd be good.
And just kind of keep track a little bit. So if anything gets turned around or what happens. But
did you have any studs and scrubs for today?
I'm going to be honest, Stu. I got no studs, no scrubs today.
That's okay, because I didn't really either, other than I was going to make fun of Zibanejad again because he's driving me crazy in fantasy. But
get a goal and an assist.
Today, I decided, you know what? I'm just done. I'm just going to bench him. I'm going to play Kyrou and Malkin. And Malkin's been crap recently, so I didn't. Last second, I said, you know how it is when you bench the guy and he scored. So I said, I took out Martinook and put in Malkin as a winger, which I think in 12 years of fantasy has not been an option. But he must be playing the wing in real life because you can do it. And I put Zibanejad back in. And he got the goal and the assist, so I said, "Oh, thank God!" I would have been flipping out if I would have finally benched him and he got it. But the only stud I actually wrote down is just more of a could be a stud. I went out and picked him up because somebody went day to day, so I said, why not? I picked up the goalie Wedgwood. Just got traded from the Predators to Colorado.
Yeah.
Now, I think Colorado basically are riding Georgiev and they're winning. So they got rid of a Noonan, which kind of surprised me because I felt like he played well when Georgiev played badly. But Wedgwood apparently is just a really good backup that a lot of people are confident in him. So
he's probably a little more consistent. He's got more experience. So, I mean, that
exactly.
I can see if you're the Avs making that move just to kind of help solidify the back end a little bit. And, is that going to be – I hate to say, is that the missing piece? A backup goalie might be. And do I think Wedgwood is an upgrade? Yeah, but how much of an upgrade? It's hard to say. But
you can't tell the future. It's kind of like remember the Hamburger? What was his real name?
Yeah.
For Ottawa when they went on that run.
But it's McCammon or something? Yeah.
Yeah, McCammon, I think, was his real name. Yeah, so the Hamburger, it's like, okay, well, what if Georgiev goes back to sleep and lets in 5 goals and 10 shots every game? Mm-hmm. Well, if Wedgwood can right the ship, the Avalanche are good enough when they're healthy coming into the playoffs. They might run Wedgwood for fantasy coming into December and January. If they say, Georgiev, you've lost the starting position, we're giving it to Wedgwood, well, okay, that might be a really good player to have on your fantasy then. If the Colorado Avalanche go, 25 and 10 to end the year, you're going to want their goalie.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd grab him and just see what happens. Probably you could probably add him and drop him a few times also, unless they just go totally off. And I feel like
they start. I mean, it should be good if they start riding him. And I think the Avs probably will ride the hot hand a little bit. Obviously, Gordiev's, they brought him in to be their guy, but um, he's been struggling a little bit. And so if they bring Wedgwood in and he starts playing great, I see the Avs just playing the hot hand for a little bit. Make one of those goalies, uh, make one of them force you into starting them or giving them more time.
Yeah.
Wedgwood comes in, plays great. You're just going to ride him, and you're going to say, Gorgiev, you're going to have to earn this spot back.
Mm-hmm.
And
A little
so
competition in the same locker room
I think a
can be
little
good.
healthy competition, I think that's good. Yeah,
Yes.
agreed.
Now, since we didn't have a lot this episode geared up for studs and scrubs and all that type of stuff, you had a story that you wanted to run with, right?
Yeah, so I'll be honest,
I gotta
that
hit
would
my
be it
camera
for
here.
me.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's good here. I'm
yeah,
here. My camera's kind of messed up. I'm resetting it.
gotcha. No, you're good. So this isn't a real NHL segment, Nick's history lesson, but it kind of ties into it. So I belong to a few groups on Facebook that are Red Wing memorabilia, um, buyers, sellers, just different things. And I came across one the other day that kind of grabbed my attention, and I wish I would have screenshot it, uh, because I can't find it anymore. Because what happened was, and I don't know all the details, but apparently there's a Gordie Howe auction going on currently, where they're auctioning off some Gordie Howe autographed items, but also personal items. Um, and I kind of clicked on the link and I looked at some stuff, and I can't afford the $10,000 gold Gordie Howe Rolex, um, or signed jerseys or anything like that. But they have some cool things, and obviously everything in this is you're not going to get anything for $50.
Right.
You're gonna have to spend a couple hundred. But I mean, there's several things. I mean, you could just buy a regular shirt that he had, or he had some cufflinks with his initials on them. Those were, I think, a couple $100. But it was like, man, that'd be kind of cool to have.
Yeah.
And all this has been, they're selling this for charity. These things have been authenticated, so you get a certificate of authenticity signed by his kids, Marty and Mark Howe, that says
Hmm.
this was, their dads. So what popped up on my Facebook group was this person apparently bought, I'll say, a lot. Not a lot as in many, but like you go to an auction, you just
Oh,
buy a lot
oh,
of
lot number 12. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. Um, Gordie Howe Christmas decorations.
Okay. Okay. Let me get the wet bandits up here.
And whatever was in this lot, he only wanted certain things. So there were some extra ornaments that he said, I don't want these. It just was part of the package deal. And on there, what he took a picture of the ornaments, and they're just old looking bulbs, Christmas
Yeah.
tree bulbs that you hang on your tree that have like the glitter stripe on them or whatever from the 50s or 60s or whatever it would be. I mean, I got some from my great grandparents and my grandparents that they put on their
Yeah.
trees. Um, and he also took a picture of the piece of paper that was signed by Mark and Marty that said, yes, these were our Christmas decorations, whatever. And so he said he had like 12 extra boxes. The first 12 to comment, he was just going to send them to him. And of course, I get on there and I'm like comment number 21 or something, but I still comment because I'm like, dude, I got to get, so I just comment like, dang, that's awesome. That would be so cool to have. I can't, wish I was on here sooner, yada, yada, yada. So then didn't really think anything of it. The next day, someone sends me a message and they say, hey, I have a spare ornament that I'll send you if you give me your address. Now, Is this just some serial killer in a random Facebook group that wants to know? I hope not. I hope not. But so what I think happened was the first person bought lot 20, and there were like extra boxes of ornaments they didn't want. They sent those out, and they send one to one person, and then he goes, "Well, I'm not going to hang all 12 of these on my tree. I'll give some to other people that commented, but they don't get a whole box. I might only want one or two of his ornaments. You know what I mean?"
Wow.
So then I
Yeah.
think they're just sending them. Now I haven't received it yet, so we'll see. Could it be just an old ornament that he has? Sure. Could it actually be a Gordie Howe ornament? Maybe. But here's the problem. I don't have, nor does the person that's going to send me this, the certificate of authenticity.
Oh, it's only the guy who bought the line. There's only
Yes.
one letter of
Yes.
authenticity.
You get
So you're
all
going to have
these.
a Christmas ornament from the 50s that you're just going to tell everyone for
I'm
the rest
just
of your
gonna
life.
tell everybody. But now, why
Dude,
would
that's
someone
crazy though.
make that up?
What, other than just being a Christmas Red Wings nutcase,
Right. That's true.
which guilty.
So, but yeah,
That's crazy
I don't know
though.
if the auction is still going on, but do yourself a favor. I believe it's on just like NHL.com. You should be able to find it in there. But I just click
Okay.
on the link of the post that's in Facebook, one of the Facebook groups.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but yeah, it's just kind of fun to go through there and see some of the stuff. Like I said, some things I probably could afford, but it's like it's just going to be a random shirt. But the shirt would come with a certificate of authenticity signed by his two kids, and I believe Mark Howe. I'll have to do a deep dive on him. He's probably an NHL segment on his own, but
Yeah, he was
he's in
pretty
the
good.
Hall of Fame
He's in the
by
Hall of Fame.
himself. So it's like, all right, well, just having that would be awesome. But yeah, I mean, do yourself a
Right,
favor,
people
kind
would
of
pay
look
money
into
just
those.
for
Yeah,
Mark Howe's signature.
yeah.
I know he's
So
not Gordie, but
I thought that was very interesting. I wouldn't have ever even like dreamt that that would be something. Now, I probably would have. It's probably better that I didn't see that on the auction list before it got sold because you might be taking out a loan just to get Gordie Howe's Christmas decorations. But yeah, very cool.
and not giving them away for free on Facebook.
And not giving them away for free. No. And now I offered this person. I said I'll pay for shipping, whatever. They said no, no, don't worry about it. Happy holidays, you know. So I was like, oh, all right. So I'm kind of curious to see what I'm gonna get. Like I said, it's not like a Gordie Howe ornament like of him or anything. It's just like what he would have put on their tree. So they're just generic looking, um, but
It
still.
is interesting though, some of this stuff, because I just pulled it up while you were saying this.
Did you find
Just,
it?
yeah, pretty
Okay.
easy. I guess I could give a shout out. If you just type in Gordie Howe auction,
Yeah.
it'll come up, but it's still live right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you find it if you listen to this podcast later.
Yeah,
But
and I don't know if there's certain things that's like, hey, I'm gonna, kind of a buy it now for this price kind of a thing, or if some things are,
there
it
is
doesn't,
actually.
it doesn't seem like there's, uh, I'm not quite sure how it works.
Yeah, so frozenpond.com is it, but then also the NHL, you can do both, I guess.
Okay.
If you search it, it'll come up on both. So auctions.nhl.com. I assume they have lots of NHL auctions. It takes you directly to the link of the Gordie Howe one
Hmm.
that's going on, and the tab says Frozen Pond Charity NHL Auction. So
Okay.
Frozen Pond must be the name of the charity that the Howe family goes to. There's a thing on here about the fundraiser, and then there's all these items for sale. And I'm not seeing it on their site, but on the NHL site, it does have a tab for buy it now.
Hmm.
And some of the items, like you said, $10,000 for 18 karat gold
Yeah.
Rolex, gifted and engraved by the Illich family.
Hmm.
So very cool. There's only one bid on it. So some of them, I guess, my point was going to be a little thrown off because there aren't bids. That's just the starting asking price. But it was a Mark Howe, not Gordie, Mark Howe, Hartford Whalers painting. And it is $400, $399. But then I scroll down a little bit. Mark Howe playing for the Red Wings. Again, not Gordie, but Mark Howe framed and signed $299. So it was just interesting that I guess maybe the painting is more unique or really truly one of a kind, like it was hanging up in their home, that his maybe not Gordie, but maybe their mom, was like, here's a painting of my son playing for the Oilers, for the Whalers. So it was just kind of caught my eye that I'm like, dude, it's $100 for this oil painting versus this picture of him playing for the Red Wings signed is less money. But there's a bunch of it, like the 2002 Chicago Wolves Calder Cup Trophy Championship bottle of wine. The box is signed by the whole team.
There's a lot of random things on there, dude.
Random stuff. So like you're saying, some of it maybe not. This one's a little weird. Freddie Anderson game used goalie pads. But it's got the number 9 on there, the personal effects of the Howe family. So somebody in the Howe family has Freddie Anderson's pads.
Yeah.
Which I will say, real quick, it's for charity and it's the Howe family, so maybe things move for a little higher dollars than just you selling this on your driveway or your front lawn. But side note, Freddie Anderson's game used 2016-17 goalie pads. No bids. $2,000. Okay, well, while that's insane, if you go buy new goalie pads, they're like $2,000.
It's going to be that, yeah.
However, I have Roman Turek's pads in my house. And I think Freddie Anderson's probably a better goalie than Turek was, but Turek had a long career in the NHL. He was a solid goalie. If those things are worth $2,000, they're getting sold today. Because I would have guessed like 200.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's all sorts of cool stuff. There's a much more affordable watch that's still very expensive.
Yeah.
But he got a watch for the All-Star game. 1976 WHA All-Star game, $800.
Okay.
A little steep for me, but that's pretty cool.
I don't know if I don't know how often they do this, or if this is just like a one-off thing, or what prompted this. I wasn't able to kind of dig into some of that information, but it was very cool that they had a lot of this stuff, and there was a lot of random things that it was like, all right, well, I can't afford the watch or the signed jersey or whatever, but it's like, okay, well, maybe I am stuck with the random box of that the wine came in for this, but some of those things are kind of cool, they're very unique, one of a kind things that just kind of popped up the other day. I had no clue that this stuff even existed.
Me either. It's very cool. Like you said, some of the stuff is almost cooler, that it's just like so almost random personal effects. Like this is one of the ones I'm looking at that is the Gordie Howe autographed Legends on Ice t-shirt. It's a t-shirt of LA Kings versus the Detroit Red Wings. So they've got caricatures. They've got 2 caricatures of Wayne Gretzky and the Kings, obviously, and Gordie Howe and the Red Wings. And it says Legends on Ice. And it's got Gordie's signature, I think, and no Gretzky signature. $75. Buy it now. Add to not even bidding.
Yeah.
So $75 for a t-shirt is a little silly, I guess, but like.
And something that comes with because it does say, right, a certificate of authenticity from.
Yeah, I'm sure it has it on here somewhere. It comes with a certificate of authenticity from Gordie's sons, Marty and Mark. And then there's nothing I can find, like you said, of why they're doing it right now, but it just says that the Howe family is selling this stuff. All funds are directed to the Howe Foundation, which is the official charity of Gordie and Colleen Howe. So they're selling the estate stuff and they're giving it to charity. I assume their charity probably does a wide variety of things. I would assume that Howe Foundation probably has lots of parts of it. But it is very interesting. I had no idea about this. Some of the stuff is,
and I mean,
super expensive.
$75 for a T-shirt that, he probably didn't wear or anything, but it's like he was in possession of it. He signed it, and his kids are willing to put their name on it. That like, yeah, that was my dad's shirt.
Yeah. So it's
all right, and it's Gordie Howe. It's not like it's just a current, or a no name. I mean, you're talking an all-time great player, Mr. Hockey. As a Wings fan too, so
it's one of those things of somebody who was so famous for so long and so good for so long that there is probably more memorabilia of his than some players.
Yeah.
So there's kind of that, but also like when people in any industry, I guess, but especially in the sports world, when they pass away, like they're not signing any more cards.
Right.
And so, sure, Gordie Howe probably has way, 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 way more merchandise that's been signed than Terry Sawchuk. Yeah. Because he passed away when he was young. And so it's like, okay, but I can still come on here right now and have a picture of him playing the game with no helmet that's signed by him for $90.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is legit. I mean, it's on the NHL thing. It's signed by the kid, so it's not just you're buying it on eBay and it's like, ooh, did someone just print up this thing and forge these signatures? It seems like it's a pretty legit.
Yeah, and like here's one that like it's probably not game used because it's those Northlands that I think they give the player of the game. They still do, even like those wooden sticks that are just straight.
Yeah.
People put them up in bars and stuff. But it's like, this is signed by Gordie Howe. It's a Northland autographed vintage stick, signed $600. Okay, it's a lot of money, but it's like, I've got a stick signed by Gordie Howe. I mean, imagine by the time your son is your age, like that's going to be really vintage. I mean, Gordie Howe played in the 1950s.
Right.
That it'll be 100 years when Eli's 30, right?
That's true. Yeah.
That's crazy. Anyways, super cool plug. I love that story. I did not know anything about this. I didn't mean to just go through and read them all out loud.
No, I'm glad you did.
Really interesting.
Check it out. I mean, and if you're...
The NHL link is the way to go. The NHL link has...
Okay.
Wait, dude. Don't tempt me on this one. Alec Delvecchio signed, autographed, and game used stick. $300.
So, I mean, $300, yes, a lot of money, but not really outrageous for some of the stuff that they're,
I bet you a signed autographed stick from Austin Matthews would cost more than that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, here's Marcel Dion also. And, oh, dude, this is the one to bid on. Sorry, whoever. There's only one bid so far. I hope we don't ruin your bid. This has a personalized message on it. It says, to Gordie, Mr. Hockey, best wishes, signed Marcel Dion. $200.
That's it? Wow.
Only one bid so far.
Yeah.
Now they might have put in 800 and just
autofilled. And then it automatically bid, yeah.
But interesting though. You have to bid in $25 increments. I'll let everyone just go check this out. Go to the NHL website though. The Frozen Pond one doesn't have nearly as much merch. It has a lot of stuff you can just buy. No bidding. You can buy it.
Okay.
All these weird one of a kind. Here's a T-shirt I wore when I mowed the lawn. Are like they're all on the NHL site.
Yeah.
Like this one is a Lions. There's a Lions jersey that was signed to Gordie Howe as a gift, right? So it seems like there's a lot of these where other famous people said, to Gordie, and so which is almost cooler. Certainly more affordable.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just came across that this week. Thought it was super cool. Check it out. Look into it. Blow your savings. Do whatever.
Dude, no way.
Sorry, Leah.
Easy. This is going to be all of our savings. Sorry, baby girl. No way. Is this... What's President Ford's first name?
Gerald.
Gerald Ford autographed framed photo personalized to the Gordie Howe and his family, to Colleen and Gordie, and Jamie in appraisal. And I can't read it all the way, but it's a picture of them all at a golf tournament together. And President Ford signed it, and best wishes, Mr. Howe. That's crazy. I mean, I don't know Ford well enough to be like, that's my guy, but Gordie Howe with Muhammad Ali. I mean, Jack Nicklaus. There's tons of them. There's tons of these cool things out here. So, anyways, we'll leave it at that. I don't think we really have too much else to say, but there is tons and tons and tons and tons of cool things. So I really appreciate this shout out for our listeners and myself.
Yeah, I'm probably getting some angry texts from Leah tomorrow.
Oh, you will. This one is going to go high, I bet you, because it's $50, so people are bidding on it. Gordie Howe's Hartford Whalers credentials. It's got like his VIP member and his media pass, like the actual card. Like he's allowed to be in the locker room.
Oh, wow.
With his, and it's when he's retired, I think.
Yeah,
he's an older man. Cool. Yeah, 1992. Hartford Whalers, Gordie Howe identification. I guess he still played for him in 92 probably. But it's his media pass. It's like your, backstage allowed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Super weird, yeah. And it's got other people's signature because it's like whoever this guy is, the director of public relations has signed it, that it's like official. So anyways, very, very cool. That's all I've got, though. I didn't have anything else for this episode, so a little weird one, but it's a fun.
We're just catching up. We got the holidays hitting. We just got through Thanksgiving. We're getting into Christmas mode. Haven't talked in a minute, so just a little bit of catching up.
Yes, I agree. So, anyways, it was good catching up. Good talking a little bit of hockey, and that's all I got. So keep your stick on the ice.
All right. Make the first move, Conway.